Now we shall move on to the reading part of our presentation, hosted by me, Linh Thong. I'll be giving you answers to the questions of the passages in the student file as well as provide explanations to each answer as well. Let us begin. Starting off with the first passage. The answer to these two first questions, question number 1 is C, and question number 2 is D. For question number 1, from the very first line of paragraph number 2, you can see an international research led by Dr. Anis Van Brick called The Impact of the Pandemic on Family Life Across Cultures is mentioned, and the rest of the passage focuses on this research. Therefore, we must choose C as the correct answer. For question number 2, look at the other options. Speculation. The activity of guessing possible answers to a question without having enough information to be certain. It is not evidence, which is one or more reasons for believing that something is or is not true, nor it is theory or formal statement of the rules on which a subject of study is based on, or of ideas that are suggested to explain a fact or event, or, more generally, an explanation or opinion. It is not thought, something going over in one's head, and can be seen to appear. This leaves us with suspicion, which means something you imagine or suppose to be true or to exist without proof. Therefore, we choose suspicion as the answer to this question. Let's move on to the next two questions. Now we move on to the next two questions. Question number 3 and question number 4. The answers are A and B respectively. Question number 3. The line preceded this sentence stated, "During the pandemic, we have returned to our homes for safety and support." Therefore, we can understand that this refers to safety and support. For question number 4, we should choose B because, as the last sentence of the first paragraph suggested, the source of much anecdotal comment and speculation. Now let's move on to question number 5 and question number 6. For question number 5, it is C, and question number 6, it is A. The incorrect option is C because the passage stated 21 researchers, not 40. And for question number 6, A is true because, as paragraph number 3 has stated, such aims reveal a strong understanding and recognition of the fundamental role of parents in providing secure, stable, and healthy home environments for their children. On to question number 7 and question number 8. Seven is B and 8 is D. Question number 7. The researchers want to identify parents' needs because they need this evidence to identify the parents' needs and to use this evidence to inform the design of policy and support for families in the future. For question number 8, the aims of the study has been stated in the first sentence of paragraph number 3, which is to track the pattern of symptoms, to understand the experiences, coping skills, and mechanisms of parents under pandemic conditions, and to identify parents' needs. From there, we can come to the conclusion that D is the most suitable answer for question number 8. We have 2 questions left, which is question number 9 and question number 10 for the first passage. The answers are C and D, respectively. Question number 9. The main reasons for the rise in costs of families are health, living conditions, and resources. And for question number 10, the second line in paragraph number 5 stated, the COVID Family Survey invites parents to share their experiences to help provide support for the future. The questions are straightforward, and the guide time to complete the survey is 30 minutes. So the correct answer is D. And that concludes the first passage. Let us move on to the second passage. For the first two questions, one is C. Usually, the very first sentence suggests the main idea of the passage, but from this sentence, we can easily conclude that C is the correct answer. And for question number 2, it is A. The original definition of situation says, a condition or a combination of conditions that exists in a particular time. So condition is the closest to the definition of situation. It is not scenario, a setting in which particular for a work of art or literature, nor it is position, a place where someone or something is located or has been put. On to questions number 3 and 4. The answers are D and C. What goes after the word this describes the action, buy a house or rent an apartment. And according to the paragraph, we can infer that to buy a house or rent an apartment is a big choice for any individual or family. So D is suitable as the answer to this question. And for question number 4, a line in paragraph says, if you are a single person, an apartment will probably be the best choice. So C is the correct one according to the passage. On to the next two questions. Question number 5 and question number 6. The answers are A and D. When choosing between buying a house and renting an apartment, you should consider about space, finances, long-term plans, and even responsibility for repairs and maintenance. You should choose A as the correct answer here. For question number 6. D is correct as it has been supported by the first 3 sentences of paragraph number 4 shown on the screen here. Let us move on to the next two questions. For question number 7, it is B, and question number 8 is also B. The very last line of the second passage says, also, things like mowing the yard may be easy for a young, healthy person, but difficult or impossible for an older individual. And for question number 8, the last paragraph of the passage also stated, you should ask yourself if you have enough money to make repairs in case of an emergency. Therefore, the correct answer is B. Now we move on to the last two questions of the second passage. For question number 9, it is D, and question number 10 is B. 9D. The first paragraph suggested the following. If you are married with children, you might prefer to buy a house since they are bigger and usually include a yard, which is great for kids to run and play. For question number 10, as I have mentioned this sentence before, if you are a single person, an apartment will probably be the best choice. So we can conclude that the correct answer is B. And that's it for the reading passages. Now we'll move on to the gap filling passages. Go, right go. Let us move on to the first passage of the gap filling passages. And here are the answers. Now let's move on to the second passage. Here are the answers. And for this paragraph, I would like to make a small comparison between find out, realize, and notice. Find out means obtaining info you previously didn't know after you've tried to discover it. Realize is to become aware of something all of a sudden, and it all happens in your mind. Also can be understood as a cognitive event. Notice means similar to realize, but more like a physical event. Obtained info through your eyes, ears, or by touching them physically. So from my explanation, realizes is the most suitable option of all four options for this question, because the importance of family isn't something that's physical in order for one to notice it, nor it is mentioned in the passage that he had been actively trying to search for anything relating to the importance of family, but rather it came to him suddenly. Now let us move on to the third passage. Here are the answers. Now let's move on to the last passage, passage number 4. For this passage, I would like to point out that for question number 1, the correct answer is surprised, but you can also choose taken aback, as they have similar meanings. And for question number 4, I would like to make yet another comparison between emphasize and accentuate. Both are synonymous with each other, but accentuate isn't the appropriate answer here because it is often used to refer to appearances like his tight t-shirt accentuated his muscles. But I would like to point out that option C is also a viable option, as emphasize and highlight are synonymous with each other. And that concludes the reading session of our group's presentation. Thank you for joining in.